Piston's repairs are incredible. The broken and scrapped gear shaft can be restored to factory settings and used after simple processing in their repair shop. The tractor gear shaft in front of me has a serious fracture at the spline end. The owner also rushed to the repair shop after the master made a simple measurement of the gear shaft in order to allow the fracture surface to be welded and fixed with welding rods. The edge must be cut out of the groove first, although the groove is relatively large. It can reserve more Han Street area for this relatively simple shaft splicing. Fu also chose the axis hole docking method in order to avoid errors in the shaft length after splicing. Fu not only needs to ensure the depth of the hole, but also needs to increase the hole diameter to avoid insufficient splicing strength. Then, the master will use their card return to read the data through the outside diameter micrometer. After the master's careful measurement, the broken flower sword end has been processed. Then, the gear end is also fixed on the claw plate, because the direct docking of the two will shorten the length in order to restore the effective splicing to the original factory. The same method is used for punching. Although the hole position needs to be connected with other materials, it can make the length of the splicing unaffected. After the hole is completed, the hole is expanded by the inner hole cutter. The hole diameter of the flower sword end is used as the processing basis. The holes at both ends are processed to the same inner diameter, under the premise of processing the end face of the flower sword end with a groove. This end also needs to be cut by the lathe. Only when the two fit together can they be welded internally. Although the hardness of the gear shaft itself is very high, their lathe tools are not annealed on the end face. The effect of iron is the durability of their hand-grinded lathe tools. Because the two ends cannot be connected in the same way, the inner wall of this hole position must be cut with threads to achieve the purpose of increasing the splicing strength. After the master has finished cutting the inner thread of the hole position, in order to connect the two holes, the master is ready to use the same material of round steel to process a hole connector through the lathe. Then use steel paper to measure the total depth of the hole position. This data is also the key to restore its length. After recording it correctly, the round steel is rusted. The joint with the hole has a beam. Before the formal cutting, it is necessary to measure with a micrometer. The slight difference will cause concentricity problems. Under the master's very meticulous operation, the round steel with qualified outer diameter must be cut and separated. Cut according to the mark measured by the steel ruler to ensure that the overall length can also meet the docking requirements. In order to facilitate the processing of external threads, Fu first has two hard joined the small cylinder. When the surface is lubricated with engine oil, the cylinder is also successfully knocked to the bottom of the hole. The other end is threaded docking. When the small cylinder needs to be rotated and tightened, Fu first has to adjust the appearance of the cylinder. Avoid the error between the external thread data and the hole diameter. After the measurement is correct, use a marker to apply. The main purpose is to facilitate the master to observe better. The surface of the cylinder can be processed into threads with consistent pitch. After the surface thread processing is completed, the two can be condensed. The shaft rod that has been completely fitted can be directly welded with a high-hardness Hon bar. Fill the groove until it is flush with the shaft surface. After the master skillfully removes the surface coating, the protruding part needs to be cut flat with a lathe tool to cover the welding marks and make the surface of the handle more beautiful. Due to welding, there is a lot of welding slag around, so it is necessary to use a grinder for simple grinding to avoid affecting the normal installation of the flower parts. After the master used Avermetal to splice, the gear shaft was simply repaired. How long do you think it can be used like this?